Let's see. Is there not a page to see this stuff? What? Get started in a second. Just signing in to Google. Oops. That's not right. I need.
Never to test wholly those who have deceived us these once. But yet, I still come back.
Copy that. And then okay. Not exactly sure where to start, so I just created a little directory called Data Center. I think this is where we'll keep all of our documents for this stuff. As a little bit of background, I already run a home lab and a bunch of other things, so I have a decent amount of experience in this in the amateur field, but I wanted to refine some of my skills, so that's what we're going to be doing here. So I guess generally where I usually start is Docker. And let's see. I don't use Docker on my laptop. Instead, I use something called Orb Stack. I like it a little bit more. It's a little bit lighter weight. It works really well on Mac, but Docker documentation works.
The human soul is guided by two horses, a dark horse of passion and a white horse of reason. I was developed by reason. I think I have discovered passion.
Uno momento. Check my calendar. I will deal with that at a later date. Alright, so we're not going to be using Docker Desktop, but we've got Orb Stack installed. Basically, Docker allows us to containerize the different applications that we're wanting to run in our home lab or data center or whatever. There's a bunch of other ways that you can run applications, but Docker's a good balance between what's it called? It's just a good balance between things. So that's in the home lab environment and the amateur environment. This is a good option. And they use this professionally, but for us, this will be good. So let's go take a look at the docs. Docker concepts, the basics. What does it contain? Let's go and just dive into this a little bit more. Just isolated processes for each of your app's components. Okay. Alright, so containers are just like lighter versions of VMs. They have less background stuff, less overhead, so you can run more on less infrastructure. Okay, that matches with what I've gathered from my previous stuff. So I don't want to use Docker Desktop. I would like to use the CI. What is an image? Standardized package that includes all the files, binaries, libraries, and configurations to run a container. Cool. It's like any other image ISO. Building images. This is bigger. Understanding the image layers. Right. So the first layer adds basic commands and package managers such as apt. The second layer installs Python. Okay, this is theoretical, not just every image. Cool. Okay, so layers can be reused between images. Content addressable storage and union file systems. Okay, never heard of that before. Okay, interesting. So I've already done all of this before. What I'm really curious as to how to do is writing like an actual Docker file so you can, run the Docker file and then build the image with that rather than a bunch of different commands. So actually, that's the next one. Perfect. This will produce a ready-to-run Python application. Oops. So import the Python library, I'm assuming, or package, and then set the working directory to /user/local/app. I wonder if this is on the actual file system or within the container. And then you're going to copy the requirements.txt to the root directory of, I'm assuming, or to the root of the working directory, I'm assuming. And that's going to run the pip command on the requirements, just with Python installs the things listed in requirements.txt. And then copy the source to the same as where it copied the requirements. Expose the port, and then set up an app user. Yeah, cool. And then I have no idea what this bottom line does. So this specifies the working directory or the path in the image where the files will be copied and commands will be executed. Still don't really understand that. And then the copy it, runs the command. This instruction sets the default command to container using the image will run. Okay, so basically when the image runs, it will run this command. Okay. Cool. Okay, simple enough. I'm sure it gets complicated once you start doing actual stuff. Let's see. Oops. Okay. Now So to build it, you just point Docker and then with the command or the build command, and then you set where that Docker file lives. Yeah, so build context. It'll find the Docker file. Cool. Runs through everything, and then you can reference it. You can start it with this. Kind of interesting. But you can also, this isn't, memorable, so you can tag them. How do you actually tag them? Okay, so you can tag it during the build. Docker build, use the T flag, and then name it whatever you want, and then where it is. Cool. Docker image tag works, cool. And Docker push, but you have to be signed into, that is off. Okay, using the build cache, this is important. Docker checks whether it can reuse the instructions from the previous build. Finds that you've already executed a similar instruction before, Docker doesn't need to redo it. Instead, it'll use the cache result. This way your build process is faster and more efficient. That's cool. I wonder how it wonder how it determines if like whatchamacallit, if a command has already been run and like nothing that command would output would change. Like if you, for example, if you have like for a JavaScript application, you have npm as your package manager, and then you do npm I, right? And then that will go through and install everything that's in your package.json. But how I'm guessing it just knows that npm I looks at the package.json, and then if the package.json's changed between when it's the build has run, like will it rerun npm I? I'm not sure. Cool. Managing stage builds. I think this like without looking at this, I think this allows you to set up like different checkpoints but during a build. So like in the previous thing, it was saying like, if one of the lower layers gets needs to be rerun, all of the ones after that need to be reran as well, because the way that the layer system works, like later layers require stuff from the previous ones, and so if if one of your first layers gets reset, you have to rerun it. But I think a build stage allows it to basically hit a checkpoint, so like anything, if you have your first stage and everything's the same, and then you have a second stage and something changes within there, and you have a third stage and nothing else changes, it's not going to make you rerun that third stage as well. It's only going to make you rerun the one stage that has changes on it, I think is how that works. So let's see. In a traditional build, all build instructions are executed in sequence and in a single build container. Downloading dependencies, compiling code, and packaging the application, all those layers end up in your final image. This approach works, but it leads to bulky images, carrying unnecessary weight and increasing your security risks. Where this is where multi-stage builds come in. Multi-stage builds introduce multiple stages in your Docker file, each with a specific purpose. Think of it like the ability to run different parts of a build in different or in multiple different environments concurrently. Okay, and then by separating the build environment from the final runtime environment, you can significantly reduce the image size and attack surface. This is especially beneficial for applications with large build dependencies. Multi-stage builds are recommended for all types of applications, from interpreted languages to compiled. Okay, so I guess I was somewhat right, but not for the reason. Like, I'm pretty sure that what I was saying earlier would still happen, just because it is, and they're different stages, they're different environments, as it says. But if you yeah, it's just doing things all at once and in different environments. Cool. We're not doing this because I don't care. Running containers is fairly simple. Okay. I want to go to Docker Compose because I don't actually like Docker. I prefer using Docker Compose, which basically puts all of the Docker commands into a file. That way, all that you have to do is Docker Compose up. It runs the things in the file like this. Makes things a lot more simple. Great, cool. So that's all that we really need to look at for that. Orb stack's already installed, and then where to go now? So there was why is that? Or whatever. Is this open source? It is not. BSO 1.1 it'll be 2.0 in 2029. Yikes. Okay. Oh, it is source available though. That's nice. So I've heard of basically Dockhand is a way that you can manage Docker stuff, but through a web UI. That way you don't have to use commands and whatnot. But it also provides different tools and stuff. It's very similar to Portainer, but recently Portainer's gotten really crappy, so don't like using that anymore. So honestly, I'll probably end up using Dockhand. Now, obviously, in a real environment where you're running an actual data center like AWS or Azure or DigitalOcean or whoever else, right? You're gonna build your own tooling on top of your infrastructure. But for building a data center at home, I don't have that type of time. You guys probably don't either, and so we want to use pre-made, pre-packaged tools, I guess. Um, and it looks like this has a bunch of cool features. I actually haven't messed around with this yet, so this will be fun. We're just gonna be, setting up everything locally. So let's see. Is there a Docker Compose? Okay, Docker Compose. We're gonna copy this, and then we're going to N is my alias for NeoVim. I am a very small user of NeoVim. I just use it to edit random things. I use other IDEs and things like Zed for actual writing of code, but just for quick little edits, I use NeoVim. I don't know any of the commands or anything. I don't care right now. So actually, let's make a directory called what do we want to call this? Management. Actually, let's look at this. How do data centers manage servers? Data center management guide. Super micro. I'm just wondering, like, if I want to make a directory that's only for Dockhand, or do I want to make like a management one that will then have other directories for other different types of management that Dockhand, lives in. So we'll do it, and then we'll do and still in like the root directory of data center, we'll do I think that's right, and then we'll do I'll leave it there for now, and then we'll go into I should honestly make my own stuff. That would be kind of cool. Make my own management UI. Oh man. We'll just name it Dockhand for now. And then compose that. I don't think it matters. I prefer YAML. Let's see, Docker Compose. I mean, it doesn't matter, but also, like, by the way, Docker Compose is something that you have to install separately from, or like in addition to installing Docker on your computer. Yeah, so I can name it like Compose YAML. I'm not gonna do like Docker Dash. I think that's a little bit too much. But now we can add in this, right? And then like within the Docker Compose stuff, right? You have services, which is different. Well, they're different services that you're running. You can have as many as you want within one file. So like, I mean, to be honest, I can make one Docker Compose file that has everything I need for an entire data center in there, like just for like the management stuff and all that. But it's not entirely ideal to do that. And then, you name the service, and then you have the image that you want to pull. This pulls it from their own directory. Like, what is fnsys? It looks like that's just his user, which is kind of interesting. I don't love that. Interesting. But yeah, like GitHub has their own one, Docker Hub has their own like beginning one, and then you slash the image name and then the tag. So we're just tagging latest. We don't need to pin it at a version. It's not that deep. Name the container. So this is what the actual container will be named. This is what the service is named. I think. There's a difference between them. I actually don't know. So let's look that up. Trust me. I don't need that. I just need to know. You actually don't need the name, the container name. It'll usually pull it from this, but I guess you can specify it separately. I don't know why they did here, but we always want this container to restart. This is a management, UI, so we want it to be up as much as possible. We want if it fails, we want it to restart unless the user stops it. Ports, we only need internally 3000, but we can set this external one to be whatever we want. The left is the external, the right is the internal. And so a lot of things use port 3000. I use it in development, so I actually, why? Thank you. So I don't want to use 3000. I'd actually like to stick to like one set of numbers. So we're gonna do 4, and then we'll say that management always has a 1. So management will always be like this data center stack that we're making just for like this purpose. We're gonna have the port be all of the ports will have 4000, and then we'll have a 1 for management. We'll do like monitoring under 2, and then like the last 2 digits will be dependent on what it is. So like a management UI will have 4101 as the thing. And then volumes, we give it access to the Docker sock. That way it can like what is the Docker sock? It's like the allows communication between the Docker client and Docker daemon or daemon, enabling. Why? I never. Thanks. Trying to not use AI. Docker sock is the Unix socket that Docker daemon listens to. It's the main entry point for the Docker API. It also can be a TCP socket, but by default, for security reasons, Docker defaults to Unix socket. What is a socket? I think this has something to do with the kernel. It's Wikipedia. We'll do this. And then Unix sockets have 2 distinct. Well, what are Unix sockets? Imagine a 2-way tunnel, not of dirt, but data, built within the default terrain of your Linux system. That's essentially what a Unix socket represents. It's a software endpoint facilitating bidirectional communication between processes regardless of their location within their system or beyond its borders. Okay. So okay, good enough for me for now. But yeah, the Docker CLI client uses the socket to execute Docker commands by default. You can override this or these settings as well. There might be different reasons why you need to mount Docker sockets inside a container, like launching new containers within another container. So this is why we need it in here, because we're going to be, you know, launching containers and accessing like Docker commands from within the dock hand container. And by default, that's, you know, turned off for security reasons. We don't want things going outside of the container unless we trust it, which you know, a ton of people have used Darkhand so far. You know, nothing's come of it, and the source is available, which means people can look through it, and you know, see what's going on. But or for auto service discovery and logging purposes, this increases the attack surface, so you should be careful if you mount Docker or socket inside a container. These are trusted codes. English is great. Running inside that container. Okay, cool. Good enough for me. Yeah, so we mount the Docker sock, and then a volume basically like brings something from let me not explain this in my terms, but let me find the actual when you mount when you create a volume, it's stored on the Docker host. So in this case, it would be my MacBook. And then when you mount the volume into a container, this directory is what's mounted into the container. This is very similar to the way that binds work, except the volumes are managed by Docker and isolated from the core functionality of the host machine. Volumes are the preferred mechanism for persisting data generation by and used by Docker containers, while bind mounts are dependent on the directory structure and OS of the host machine. Volumes are completely managed by Docker. Volumes are a good choice for the following use cases. Volumes are easier to back up or migrate than bind mounts. You can manage volumes using Docker CLI commands with the Docker API. Volumes work on both Linux and Windows containers. Volumes can be more safely shared among multiple containers. I actually didn't know that you could share it between multiple containers. That's cool. New volumes can have their content pre-populated by a container or build. And then when your application requires high performance in or out. Cool. So we make, you know, a directory on our host, dockhand data, and then we mount it to /app/data within the container, and then we declare the volume down here. So this is where we actually, you know, make this directory, if that makes sense. Okay, let's write and quit, and then we'll do Docker compose. Actually, let's check. I don't need to do anything else, right? Alright, we'll deal with that later. Docker compose up. Okay, it's pulling down that image. Okay, so we can look back, pulled the image, made a network. Was that declared? No. management default, cool, and then management dockhand data, and then created the container attached to, we attached this, you know, console to the dockhand container. We get all the logs, it runs it as the root user, Docker's accessible, ran all of the migrations, were successful, save the encryption key, cool, and then we'll go ahead and detach, and now we can do like Docker PS, and we'll see that dockhand is in fact still running. Alright, and then don't need any of that. So we can actually go to local host 4101 is what we named it. And then cool, we get a little dialogue. Everything seems to be working here. Let's check out the settings, see what we can do. I think this UI is kind of crappy. Looks like we have some vulnerability scanners, that's cool. Show stopped containers. I have to like save these. Oh, that's light mode theme. Tokyo Night. Okay. All this is fine. What is this environment thing? Oh, okay, so this is like if you, Portainer has something similar to this, that's why I kind of recognize it. But basically, like you can add in different other servers, like other physical hardware or VMs. You can connect them to this main dockhand instance. That way, you don't need like one of these on every server. Cool. I need to figure out if I can like automate this. So if I, you know, expand my, expand this outside of, you know, just running on my laptop and actually like deploy it onto some physical hardware down the line. If I have multiple servers, like can I automate adding environments to dockhand? That way I do like Docker compose up or like run a script or whatever, and then it just sets up everything for me. That would be really cool. Maybe that's something for NixOS. Labels. Create a new label and assign it to one or more environments. Okay, so like we can have, you know, production, staging, or critical. Registries. So this is what I was talking about before. Like if you do this, right? This right here, this FN sys is a registry. And you can add them here because, yeah. Add git stuff, add secrets. Oh, we can add 1Password stuff. That's pretty cool. Eventually down the line, I want to set up Infisical. I don't know how to say that. But basically, yeah. Can I disable you? Move this over here. Alright, that's been fixed. Ooh, that is too big. Alright, and then config sets. No idea what that is. Notifications. Oh, I can set up like a Discord webhook or Signal. Okay, cool. Authentication. This is what I really want. Enable authentication. So I need a user. Add user. VNR. Admin. We'll do data centers are cool exclamation mark. I'm just kidding. I thought I just turned you off. Remove. Bye bye. Won't listen to me. You're gone. Alright. We'll end up adding an SSO later. And then enable off. I hate that like he has stuff behind enterprise. I think that's ridiculous. But whatever. I'm not doing a license. I'm not gonna pay for this. Cool. So now we have a user. I don't know why there's not a log out button that I can see. But whatever. Oh, so I do actually have to like set an environment for just this. Maybe. Local. Unix socket because we're running directly here. And then I do not like that. Okay, so we need to do this. Right, until it's changed. Compose down and compose up. I can just do Docker compose up, but I don't want to. Oops. Oops. It's still wrong. And I think this actually has to be capitalized. That's lame. Alright, add an environment. Local. And then we want to do that, and cool. Don't need to print it because I've got other things on there right now. Cool. So now if we go to dashboard, we can see this. Make it. Okay, that's bad design. They should let me fully make it as big as I want. Time zone. UTC is fine. So they allow us to do vulnerability scanning with these two different scanners. Cool. Those are both installed. Don't need notifications right now. Cool. So now you can see all the random stuff I have. Dockhand is, here. I can't delete it because it can't delete itself. That is weird behavior. Logs for dockhand. Auto scroll. Make it light mode if you want. Cool. Select a container. Get into the shell super easily. That's amazing. This is really difficult actually on Portainer. It's super slow. And then images, volumes, networks, templates. Oh, okay. You can set up a bunch of different templates, registries. Very cool. What do we want to set up now? We'll end up needing monitoring at some point. And we can do that with Grafana. But I don't really want to get into Grafana today. Eventually we'll need auth, so we can, sign into Dockhand with an SSO, and then we can sign into other applications with just the one login. And I've enjoyed using Authentic. I might look into some other things that we could use instead. But that has been good. And then know how to use Docker. We've got a management UI up. What else do they have? Hey, Obi-Wan. Thank you. What? Maybe temporarily. Yeah, that's fine. I don't care. YouTube be like, all right. I really don't know what else to add right now. Let's see. That is not where I want to type that. I would like to type.
Did you ever want to cut away a piece of your memory or blot it out?
Here.
You can't, no matter how hard you try. You can change the scenery, but sooner or later you'll get a whiff of perfume where somebody will say a certain phrase.
it's kind of hard to, you know, set up a home lab when you don't have a bunch of servers, but like my servers that I have already have a bunch of stuff, and I don't want to like rip it out right now because one, I use it for, you know, personal stuff, and I have a lot of things running on it, but at the same time, like I don't know if like what I'm doing here is how I'm gonna end up setting things up later. But eventually we'll figure out how I can do it to where we can actually like set up Proxmox and some other things. All right, let's look into like, so we want notifications for things, and we want monitoring for our services. And in here, I saw that there was something for notifications. So notification or set up, configure notification channels to receive alerts about Docker events, supports SMTP, email, and webhook URLs. We can have all those different types of things. So we can do turn on all of these. I want to be notified about everything. We'll do a webhook. I'll just name this Discord. Ooh, this is where things get sketchy. And then I can't share that though. That's the problem. Because you can do a lot with a webhook on Discord. I know that for sure. And I need to edit this channel, set the permissions. Everyone can view, but nobody can send messages. If only there was a way to hide your server list within Discord. That would be nice. And then we'll do integrations, create a webhook. We'll name this doc hand notif, and then we'll copy the webhook. And then see, this is the thing I was talking about with, you know, live streaming things is you can't. Oh, okay, so does it need to be? Yeah, so it wants Discord. Yeah, it definitely is hard. I've already been, you know, struggling with almost sharing stuff in one password. It's lovely. But it wants webhook ID and then a webhook token. But how do I get that information? Because Discord just gives you an HTTPS thing. Each Git stack gets a unique webhook. Okay, this is okay. This is really cool. Unrelated to, well, the worst that happens, Obi-Wan, is you get the webhook and just start spamming my Discord server with messages, and like, what permissions does a Discord channel webhook have? My other concern is like, does it have so much permission that like it can like nuke um, a whole thing? Like uh, settings, integrations, webhooks. This. There's no you can't. There's no setting. Ugh. So if I go to server settings, um, go to roles, and then oh, but this isn't what I want. Whatever. We don't need that. Or let's find the notifications. No, you don't want to show me that. Okay. How to get a Discord webhook ID and token. If I can type, that'd be great. Oh, there's even, oh gosh, there's even guild webhooks. Okay. Um, but see, I don't want to like query the Discord API because that's boring. I just want to use the UI right now. Edit channel, integrations, webhooks, this. If I copy the URL and just put it into here. I figured it out. All right. Now let's not dox this Discord. The token. Okay. That has successfully been added. Whoops. Now I just don't want to click that edit button, but yeah, basically, sent out a message that looks like this into Discord server. So that is good. Actually, if I, all right, yeah, if you edit it, it doesn't tell you what it will do. So now we have those notifications set up, but that doesn't do, you know, service monitoring. So good home lab service tools. Tux. I love it when English is. Uptime Kuma is one that I've used before. I don't want to use homepage. Okay, there's ooh, this is a new one. Oh, it's almost one. Zabbix, an enterprise tier. All right, this almost seems like Grafana, which isn't what I want to use or what I want. I just want. Alrighty, we're gonna use let's look at Uptime Kuma alternatives. Heartbeat or hertz beat. Can I like see pictures? I'm a visual guy. Anything? Please? I don't really care how it works. I want to see the UI. This is cool looking. How does it work? Oh, another Grafana type thing. So we're just gonna use Uptime Kuma. Look at the GitHub forum. Alrighty. Main compose. So we're actually going to put this under monitoring. And then we'll do uptime within here and then get into uptime. Whoops. Do this. Is cat aliased to compose? No, it isn't. So we'll do that. All right, and then it's on the wrong port. So we said that we were going to do 4,000 for everything. And then we'll set monitoring to 2, and then uptime can be, yeah, 1. Why not? works for me, and then we'll do Docker compose up. Wait for that to pull down. Man, this is taking forever. Internet is slow. Cool. That is up. We put it on. What did we put it on? Localhost. 4201. It should be. And then, ooh, I should have probably looked at the README a little bit more. Because I would love to use okay. It already has MariaDB installed. Honestly though, I should set up like a centralized database for everything. If I go to containers and I create one, what about stacks? Am I able to like choose where this lives? No. Oh, but I can adopt. Okay. So what we'll do is we have uptime here. We'll detach from here. Oops. And then we'll go back 3. List that out. We'll just name it DB, and then Postgres, and it was saying MariaDB, right? We want to go into Maria, and then compose.yaml. We'll go to the MariaDB thing, Do they have GitHub? Nothing important there. I just want the So we want is that how you spell image? Image? Yeah, okay. And we'll set it to be that, and then ports default Maria DB port. 3306. So I want to be in quotes 3306 to 3306. Do I want to change this though? We'll do 4502 for this. I'm going to make Postgres 01. And then I think later we'll end up making a markdown file that has like all of the ports and the stuff, like different routing maps and whatnot for how we have the home lab actually like networked, and that'll be another stream is doing networking, because it's something else that I need to get good at. Ports, and then what else can I expose? I need the MariaDB Docker compose example. I just want the compose. DB image MariaDB command. I don't know what this does. We do want the restart always. And then we will do volumes data, and then /var/ MySQL. I'm assuming it has to be it because like MariaDB and MySQL, from my understanding, are very similar. And then but I wanted to pull the environment from the env file. How do I do that? So we'll do this environment, and then tab in, we'll go find this example. So we want the my SQL SQL underscore user. I want that to be set to the what did I want? I want this to be my SQL underscore user. And then we close that off and then do, wait, no, we do this, and then we'll just like default it to admin is what that does. I think. Yeah. And then we'll do MySQL root password will be MySQL. Oh. How do you? Okay. I'm trying to figure out any of them for a second. Password. Indane. Just do admin again as the default. And then MySQL underscore password. We'll do the same thing. MySQL password and then admin as the default. I want to say that'll work, but it very well might not. So we've got that, and then we want the ports we've got set, and then we're gonna need to go. Is this on the same? Is there anything prior to that? It's on the same line. Go to this white space, and then we do volumes, and we'll do, what's the name of the volume? Maria DB underscore data. And I think that's good. Docker compose up must be an array. Okay. I guess it doesn't take that. I guess the other thing was right, and it just needs to be expose, and then I guess, but how do we change this? Must be an array. Oh, volumes. Wait, but that's a new error. Harm. Volumes. Okay, so can I do the ports just needed like ports, and then I can just, that's what I was doing wrong, duh. And then what did we say it was? 4502 to 3306 is what that needed to be. Cool. And then we want to do n.env, and then we want to set these oops. And then that, and then four, and then we'll set 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so now these should all be different from what the defaults were set to in this env. So if we list it all out, we've got the env and the compose, and then we can do docker compose up, and then we should get into there. And then in the meantime, I'll go ahead and open up data grip, and then we'll add in a new data source of MariaDB. 45 is 0, or 4502 is the port, and then database. Shoot, we probably should have said that. That might be a problem. We'll check it later. If I open up orb stack and I go to MariaDB, we can see the container is there, logs, all that good stuff. And then if I go here, go to containers, MariaDB, environment. All right, so it got the password, all of that, right? But now we need to pass it in the we need to give it like a base database, like just a default database. So MySQL, if I can type, and then we'll set it to be MySQL database, like all of the rest of them, and then we'll do we'll just name it DB by default, and then we'll write and quit, and then we'll edit. Whoops. Okay, that's lovely. We'll edit the env file to have the database, and then we'll want to name this name, because why not? And then docker compose up dash force. We're just gonna force recreate it because we can. MariaDB1 environment. We've got the database is set to main. And then user was data center, password 1, 2, 3, 4, and then test the connection, download the drivers. Why is that wrong? 1, 2, 3, 4. Why ain't you looking? It says that my credentials are wrong. Access denied. Love it. What am I doing wrong here? Got the MySQL password, got the root password. They're the same. I set the data center here. I'll show you guys. Data center, and then password 1, 2, 3, 4. Port 4502. Which is where network. Yeah, 4502 maps to that. So I mean, I can try the 3306 and just test that out, but yeah, then that just doesn't connect. So 4502 it is. Test, and we just get the database main. Maybe, you know what, we're gonna do Maria, edit the stack. Actually gonna be slash, whoops. That doesn't work how I thought it was gonna work. Maybe we'll fix that next stream. Because I am running out of time. That's just the logs. All right, here we will detach and then docker compose down, and then we'll go to the volumes and go here and just yoink that out of here, and then we'll go stacks. That's not there. Okay, it just had stale data in the volume, so deleting the volume and restarting worked because I guess things aren't seeded every time you update, but that's interesting. But now, you know, we can connect to that, and then we have access to the database, and now we want to create database, and we want to call it uptime, and then we want to create, is there like an add, create, I'm going to create user called uptime, and then we want to, this will be 4502, and then that is really annoying. tabbing not working right. Create user that, do I need to like set password to be time is cool? No. That's not gonna work. How do I set a to be user password in SQL? Any idea, guys? No. So if I do create login uptime, but that's not a thing. Uptime. All right, well, we'll do that. Hopefully that will do it. So we create a database, create the user, and then we alter user uptime. Oops. Default role. What do you expect? We'll go ahead and like do permissions for DBs later. I just want to kind of get this up and then I gotta run. So we'll try and run this. Actually, I want to like run all of this, please. Okay, well, I think I've run out of time. Can't be messing around with that too long. All right. host name, local host, port 4502, data center, password 1234. Oh, no? Does it even hit? Doesn't even hit the DB. It don't even hit the DB. Okay, well, we'll do this for now. Cool. Got Uptime Kuma running with a local database. We'll go ahead and like migrate this over to that centralized DB later, and then we can, set up monitoring stuff as we continue to learn and grow the home lab. Yeah, that's all I got. Have a good one.